Man, NASCAR feels absolutely electric right now. And not just because one big thing happened today, but because there are actually two huge stories shaking up the garage at the exact same time. One of them is the kind of thing that makes fans jump off the couch, and the other is the kind of story that makes everybody start looking at each other sideways and asking real questions. When you put those two together, you can feel the tension building across the whole sport. Right now, music this matters, because we might be watching one of those early season moments that completely changes how the rest of the year feels. The energy inside the garage, the way fans are reacting, the pressure starting to build, it all feels different today. Something has clearly shifted. And whether you are excited, suspicious, or just trying to process it all, this is the kind of NASCAR day that gets people talking for a long time. So, people, we get into both of these stories one by one. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to NASCAR Turbo Report, and help this new channel get to 10,000 subscribers. If you're the kind of real NASCAR fan who lives for the drama, the speed, and everything happening behind the scenes, you are in the right place. Let's get into the first big story, because Tyler Reddick just put together the kind of win at Darlington that honestly says everything about where he and that number 45 team are right now. Music, this was not some easy pole to checkered flag cruise where everything went perfectly. Yeah, he started on the pole, but the day got messy in a hurry. A slow stop on the first green flag pit cycle cost him track position. Then the team had to make a battery change, which sent him to the rear to start the second stage. On top of that, his cool suit was not working right, which at Darlington over 400 hard miles is brutal. That place already beats drivers up when everything is normal. So for Reddick to deal with all of that and still come back and win, that tells you this was way more than just a fast car. What really made the difference was the way the race played out late and the way Tyler Reddick in 2311 Racing handled it. Brad Keselowski had been the race dominator for a huge part of the day. He swept the opening two stages, led 142 laps, and RFK Racing honestly looked like they had a real shot to completely own this race under the new rules package. But Reddick's group stayed calm, made the late pit strategy music work, and because he pitted 3 laps later than Keselowski, he had fresher tires when it mattered most. Then about 20 laps later, he made the winning move. Got around Keselowski and just drove away. He did not just edge him out either. He stretched the lead to 5.8 seconds by the finish and led 77 laps total. That is a statement win. When you zoom out, this win becomes even bigger. That was Tyler Reddick's first career win at Darlington Raceway and the 12th win of his Cup Series career. But more than that, it keeps alive what is turning into a historic music start to the season. With this victory, Reddick now has 4 wins in the first 6 races. That's absurd. That's not just hot star territory, that's history book territory. As noted on the Fox broadcast after the race, he joined Dale Earnhardt in 1987 and Bill Elliott in 1992 as the only drivers in NASCAR Cup Series history to win 4 of the music first 6 races in a season. As a fan, when you hear names like Dale Earnhardt and Bill Elliott attached to what a driver is doing, music, you stop and pay attention immediately. This is also a massive moment for 2311 Racing as an organization. The team owned by Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, is clearly operating at another level right now. These 4 wins are the most the organization has had in a single season since it launched in 2021. Michael Jordan even said after the race in his interview with James Little on Fox Sports 1 that Reddick did an unbelievable job. Honestly, that feels like an understatement. What makes this so impressive is not just the winning, it's the way they're winning. Different music types of races, different kinds of pressure, different kinds of adversity, and they keep finding answers. Now, on the other side of that first story, you have to talk about RFK Racing, because this really did feel like a missed opportunity for that organization. Brad Keselowski. Music did so much right. He was fast. He controlled long stretches of the race, and it looked like he had the field covered for a while. Chris Buescher was also right there, leading 41 laps and showing real speed. Ryan Preece Hey Music had a quieter day but still brought the car home in 13th, which at least gave RFK 3 cars running competitively. But late in the race, everything kind of slipped away. Keselowski had nothing left for Reddick once those fresher tires came into play. A Buescher's race got complicated when he suffered right-side damage in turns 3 and 4 after Reddick, apparently not realizing Buescher was pitting, ran into the back of him. Buescher still finished 9th, but it was one of those Darlington days where you can look back and think about what might have been for RFK, especially with the new package making drivers fight the car more. This felt like a race they really could have won. There were a few other big takeaways from Darlington too. And they matter because they tell you what the rest of the field looked like around this battle. Carson Hocevar was a huge spotlight for Chevrolet. On a day when Hendrick Motorsports really didn't have its usual strength, with Byron being the best of that group in 8th, Hocevar stepped up for Spire Motorsports and led the Chevrolet charge. He started at the rear because of unapproved adjustments, which usually puts you in survival mode at a place like Darlington. But the team played the strategy smart. Hocevar stayed out longer than anyone else under green with 47 laps to go. Got fresher tires and charged all the way to 4th. That's a really impressive recovery and honestly a pretty big result for Spire. Then you look at Team Penske and it was a mixed bag. Ryan Blaney finished 3rd. Austin Cindric came home 5th. So, from the outside, that looks like a strong day for Penske overall. But Joey Logano had one of those races that just makes no sense when you compare it to what we expect from him. This is a 3-time champion, a former Darlington Spring winner from 2022, and he was just nowhere all day. He qualified 29th, went a lap down only 34 laps into the race, and ended up finishing 33rd. In a race where handling fell apart for a lot of drivers and lap times dropped off hard over a run, Logano never found a way into the conversation. So, while Blaney and Cindric gave Penske something to feel good about, the number 22 team has to be scratching its head after that one. Now, that brings us to the second story, and this one is where the mood in the garage gets really intense music, because Tyler Rake's dominance is no longer just creating admiration. It is starting to create suspicion. According to HMusic, the report, rival teams across the NASCAR Cup Series are raising serious concerns about the start that Rake and 2311 Racing have had in 2026. After this 4th win in 6 races, multiple organizations have reportedly started questioning whether the number 45 car is fully compliant with NASCAR's rule book. That is where this whole thing gets explosive. The concern, according to sources familiar with the situation, is that some teams believe the competitive gap just does not make sense. An internal petition is reportedly being circulated among organizations in the garage with the goal of urging NASCAR to perform a deeper technical review of 2311 Racing's cars. One anonymous team executive was quoted saying, "You do not just find that kind of speed across every track type without something being off." And specifically HMusic pointed to the long run pace, the tire wear and the drive off the corner as being on another level. That is not small talk. That is the kind of comment that tells you frustration in the garage is starting to boil over. When you look at the specific concerns being discussed, you can see exactly why this story is gaining traction. Teams are reportedly focused on 3 main things: unusual tire longevity compared to the field, superior acceleration off the corners, HMusic consistent long run speed regardless of track conditions. If you watch the way Rake handled Darlington, especially after all the issues he had early, you can understand why people are talking. The number 45 team keeps finding speed when it matters most and not just at one kind of track. That is what is making other teams uncomfortable. It's one thing to hit on a setup for a specific weekend. It's another thing to show this kind of pace over and over again. Now, to be clear, NASCAR responded to all this chatter by saying that all cars go through strict inspection protocols before and after each race. And the sanctioning body said there are currently no finding music indicating any rules violations. That part matters a lot because right now this is still suspicion, not proof. There is no official violation, no penalty, no confirmed infraction. 23XI Racing is also pushing back hard against the rumors. A team spokesperson said they are operating within the rules and that their ham music performance comes down to preparation, execution, and a strong team. Honestly, that is exactly what you would expect them to say, but at the same time, there is also truth in that possibility. Great teams do separate themselves through better people, smarter calls, cleaner execution, and drivers who can maximize everything. Still, from a fan perspective, this is absolutely one of the biggest storylines in the garage right now because it hits on something NASCAR always has to protect, and that is competitive integrity. When one team gets this hot, especially this early in the season, the rest of the field starts looking for answers. Some of that is natural jealousy. Some of that is frustration. Some of that is genuine concern. In NASCAR history, whenever one car or one organization starts beating everybody this consistently, people in the garage always start talking. That part is not new. What makes this feel different is that the noise is getting louder while Tyler Reddick just keeps winning. Anyway, that's really the heart of this whole tutory day. In the first story, Tyler Reddick proved again that he is not just fast, he's tough, disciplined, and backed by a team that knows how to recover when things go wrong. Beating electrical problems, losing track position, dealing with a failed cool suit, out-strategizing Brad Keselowski, outrunning RFK Racing, and adding another Darlington win to a season that is already becoming historic. That's the kind of performance that makes a driver feel unstoppable. Music. Then in the second story, that same dominance is creating backlash across the garage with rival teams questioning whether 23XI Racing speed is simply too good to be true. So now the pressure is everywhere. It's on Tyler Reddick to keep proving this is greatness and not just a hot streak. It's on 23XI Racing to keep winning while the spotlight gets even harsher. It's on NASCAR to make sure every inspection is airtight and every question is answered clearly. It's on the rest of the field. Guys like Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Ryan Preece, William Byron, Carson Hocevar, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, and everybody else chasing this number 45 team to figure out how to close the gap before this season starts getting away from them. As fans, this is exactly the kind of moment that makes a season feel alive. You have greatness, pressure, doubt, drama, garage politics, and real on-track results all crashing together at once. Whether you believe Tyler Reddick and 23XI Racing are just that good, or whether you think the garage has every right to ask harder questions, one thing is obvious. The entire NASCAR Cup Series is now chasing one team, one driver, and one story that just keeps getting bigger every single week. So, drop a like on the video, jump in the comments, and tell me what you think about Tyler Reddick, 23XI Racing, Brad Keselowski, RFK Racing, and all this noise around the number 45 team. Subscribe to NASCAR Turbo Report if you're a real NASCAR fan who likes honest reactions and real conversation. This channel is brand new. We're pushing toward 10,000 subscribers, and I want to build this with people who truly love this sport.